Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, Simon Darby, first of all, you're going to have to change this constitution yourself because you can't fight the legal case. Is that correct?
Yeah, we had a legal argument. We thought we had a very good legal argument. We maintained that we weren't breaking any laws because under, I think it's Section 26 of the Race Relations Act, as a political party, we were exempt. However, the reality, I'm afraid, is that fighting this action in a fully blown trial could have resulted in a legal bill in excess of £1 million, which would have been rather painful, shall we say, especially just before a general election. So we've taken a pragmatic approach.
When we heard that paragraph read out from your constitution, it contains some very odd words. What does folkish mean? You like folkish people?
No, not quite. I mean, really, you can summarise that by the fact that we have an identity. I think when we go into the technicalities of yesterday's hearing, it wasn't a judgment, in fact, it was a hearing. All we're asking is that people, indigenous people like myself, have the right to an identity. I mean, no one, for instance, would strip Aboriginal Australians of the right to organise politically. That would be termed as racist. But because we're white, and that may be embarrassing for a lot of people that Indigenous Britons are white, but that's the way it is, it would seem that it's open house on us.
So what is the point of this bit of the Constitution? You don't have non-white people joining the party, and you are then able to have policies about repatriating them and paying for people in ethnic minorities to go back to other countries and all that kind of thing. Is that right?
No, I think you can sum it up by the fact that we feel we have the right to an identity. I mean, once you take away a people's identity, then that sets forth the process of stripping them of everything else, to completely disenfranchise them, and results in the confiscation of their homeland and, for instance, being ruled by a one-world government.
Okay.
We're already on the way with that with the European Union.
Paul Sinha, you may well be able to join the BNP. Would you consider doing that?
Well, do you know what? I've had a look at their policies, and I'm going to give it a qualified no, I think it's fair to say. I don't think they're really for me. That's not to say they might not be for other people. The BNP have publicly stated that they have Jewish members, which I think is an odd lifestyle choice, given that their leader is on record as having been in the past a Holocaust denier. So you never know what decisions people might take. But I don't really think it's for me. I don't think it would make much difference to the BNP. I think their pragmatic approach is probably the right one, given that I don't think that many black or Asian people will think that the BNP are for them. They do, after all, still have a leader who's prepared to share a platform with members of the Ku Klux Klan. So it's unlikely, I think, that black people will be particularly attracted to the British National Party.
But the point about the comments in the papers today from some black British people was that if you open the BNP up to everyone, regardless of colour, everyone in Britain who's black could join and completely change it.
Well, in theory, that's true, but of course the BNP, for all their many faults, are not stupid, and they have the ability to filter their membership. Otherwise, people from the black community could join the BNP now and just not admit that they're black. So in that sense, I don't think very much has changed. And I do think that much as I loathe the values of the BNP with every fibre of my body, that I don't want to see them treated as an exception, and I don't want the immature move of people joining the party for no other reason than to try and damage them.
Simon Darby, it would be a problem for you if you had lots of black members, would it not?
Well, actually, we've foreseen this, but we've foreseen it in a completely different scenario. Our biggest fear has always been that this party could be subject to an influx of wishy-washy conservative types who don't share our ideals. So the biggest danger in reality to this party, I would put it to you that people speculating that this is the end of the BNP, well, it certainly isn't. And I think when people realise, I mean, we only missed out on a seat in Boston and Lincolnshire by 18 votes last night. This could open a lot of doors for us. Many people are ostensibly put off voting for the party because they think that we're racist. They don't see that perhaps expressing an identity and a culture and preserving a history is something that may not be racist.
But you
I
do...
mean, to be fair, Simon, as you well know, you are a racist party. You're just not publicly a racist party. You're still the party founded by John. You're still the party founded by John Tyndall, who was you're only one leader away from John Tyndall, and you're only the most naive person in the world would claim that John Tyndall wasn't an avowed racist. And boy, must he be turning in his grave at yesterday's
You're
news.
supposed to be a comedian, are you?
No, I'm trying to give you some facts, actually, that you're one leader away from John Tyndall.
You sound like a politician to me.
Sorry?
You sound like a politician. It's best if you make up your mind who you actually are, whether you're a comedian or a left-wing
I'm sorry, Simon. I didn't realise that I wasn't here for a debate. I'm trying to put some facts to you. I'm actually here in my role as a son of immigrants who is virulently anti the BNP, and I don't really feel that I need to make a joke about something that I think is very serious.
When you come on to actually announce what your agenda is.
Okay, well, the fact that he's a comedian shouldn't count against him in expressing a view, should it? Or is there something...
It's not funny.
Well, but he's not speaking in a comical way. There's nothing in your constitution about comedians, is there? Just checking?
No, nothing at all. But when somebody comes on there passing himself off as some kind of harmless comedian and then comes out with a group of... phrases and extreme anti-white vitriol like that, you begin to wonder just why vitriol.
Okay, Simon, just to clarify, sorry, Simon, you got wound up because Paul said the BNP is a racist party. That seemed to be what lit the blue touch paper. But the fact is, looking at this paragraph of your constitution that we just read out, it majors on colour, and that's why it's racist. It's as simple as that. It's not to do with culture only, which is different. It's to do with the colour of people.
But Jeremy, please. What we're dealing with here is the fact that you, and indeed your guest there, your comedian guest, can't seem to understand that white people have an identity as well. In effect, this judgment, if it is a judgment, let's say it was a hearing, actually means that we don't have the right to an identity.
But
now,
there's a difference between... Hang on. There's a difference between... I'm sorry. There's a difference between having an identity that is cultural, which is British, and having an identity that is colour. Now, when you say white people have an identity, do you mean Polish white people? Do you mean German white people? Why make it white? Why not make it British?
Why is it, for instance, that you don't have a problem with the Black Socialist Organisation, the Black Police Association, the Muslim Lawyers Association?
But with all due respect, Simon, do you not think there would be a problem if any of those tried to stand for Parliament? I think there is the difference. You're a political party standing for Parliament, therefore you have to abide by a different set of rules.
So, okay, so where from here, Simon Darby, you're going to let in people who you think should leave the country. That is going to cause, at the very least, some problems at your national conference, isn't it?
Well, would they join signing up to a manifesto like that? If, for instance, it was part and parcel of our policy, and it was made very clear to ethnic minority people that there are too many immigrants in this country and that we do need an appraisal of just how many people this country and indeed the world could support. How many people would join?
Well, what if they start joining? What if you have, I don't know how many people are in your party.
14,000.
14,000, and they are white, okay? So what happens if 2,000 people who are black or Asian turn up at your next conference? What do you do?
Well, you see, the thing is, that's not for me to decide what happens. The undertaking that we've taken from the court is that we'll go to our membership with the proposed constitutional changes, and it's up to the members to decide.
But just to make it clear, you feel closer to a white Polish person than you do to a black British person, is that correct?